The biggest battle we will ever have to face is the battle between you and you. It's the battle of taking your mind to that limit and then breaking through. On the Mindful Experiment podcast, we will share concepts, universal laws, and interviewing individuals who have done just that, who have gone through the dark times and through those moments allowed their light to shine bright. I'm your host, Dr. Vic Manzo, and I want to thank you for listening to the podcast and taking this journey with me as we discover different avenues to break through those limits, expand your reality, and evolve into the person you desire to be. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Dr. Vic, and you are listening to The Mindful Experiment. Excited to have you on. Last week was 4th of July. I took the freedom to get away from social media. I took time. I didn't even do podcasting at all. I took a moment to just celebrate and appreciate the freedom that I have, the freedom that I'm creating. And in conversations, it was great to talk with some friends and family and so forth and really grasp to understand to what really is freedom. And it's funny when I work with individuals, we'll talk about certain things. And it's funny how most of us all want financial freedom to a certain degree, right? And I love turning that question around when that comes up and look and say, what does that look like? How do you know when you're there? What's the purpose behind it, right? And so asking that question to you, when it comes to freedom, what is that to you? Freedom emotionally, freedom in a relationship, freedom in financially, freedom in the mind. What does freedom mean to you? And I really believe everyone has their own form of definition of that. I think there's a commonality between all things, but then there's that the uniqueness of us being human. And so when you look at freedom for myself, freedom is something that allows me, I want to create a life where I can just go and pick up and do whenever I can want, whenever I can. If I feel like I want to take 6 months to go travel all throughout Europe, I can do that. I have no problem with that, right? That's freedom. It's freedom to choose what I want to do and go do it. Where in relationship, I want to be the person to be free, to be the person I am. And learn to develop and grow and not be controlled or suppressed. Nor do I want that for my significant other. I want her to be free. I want her to be able to grow and evolve at the level that she's at. And it's a challenging time sometimes for me because, sometimes you're like, we can get past this already. But there are times where in life, you just, it's just taking the moment and appreciating the process because life really is not a sprint, but it's truly a marathon. So when you look at your life, what does freedom look like? And what I want you to do and what I advise you to do or challenge you to do is that in your life, look at your relationships, look at your body, physical health, look at your mental health, look at your spiritual connections, look at your friends and family, the connections with them. What does it all mean to have freedom, right? Because I truly believe when you're free in the mind, you're not controlled by anybody. When you're free in the mind, you're not programmed by anybody, and that's one of the biggest motivation and inspirations and the why behind why I have this podcast, right? It's to help you break away from the programming, help you to win the battles, the daily battle as much as possible. Or I should say, take that back. It's winning the war. Because the battles, you're going to lose some. It's just going to happen. That's human life. Nobody wins every single day. It's impossible. But there are times where, the overall scheme of it all, you won the war. And that's that battle within yourself, right? Lao Tzu said to master others is strength, but to master yourself is true power. And that quote is so powerful. It has resonated within my life so deeply because I've learned that in the beginning of my life, I mastered others. So I thought I had strength. I was like, I know how to talk to someone. I know the exact wording I have to say and so much more. But I gave that up pretty quick because I realized there wasn't true power behind that. I didn't know who I was, right? I didn't have that freedom. I was programmed as a chiropractor. I was programmed as an Italian American. I was programmed as an individual that this is how I should be. Instead, I wanted to be free. I wanted to break away from the prison of my mind. I wanted to break away the prisons that I put in my life. And so I started to challenge myself. And what I did is I started to master me. Who am I? What makes me tick? What makes me truly happy? What makes me passionate? What's something that when I'm on my deathbed, what's going to be that thing that I'm going to look and say, F yeah, I did it. I'm complete. I can leave this world on E. I can leave this world on empty because I gave it my all and I put it all out there. And I didn't care what people thought. I didn't care what people think. I didn't let any of that get to me because it wasn't about them. You see, and there's a great lesson behind that because I had a mentor when I was doing public speaking. Well, I still do public speaking, but when I first started, I remember I would see him speak and it was just like he went up there so natural, so nonchalant, and he was just so great and his message was powerful and he did it every time. I've heard him speak over 30 times. And so I was always amazed. And I remember I went up to him and I was like, I want to be that way. How do I be like that? I'm like, when I go up to speak, I'm worried about what I'm saying. I'm worrying about if I get the content down and how I wanted to say it in a certain order. I'm worried about X, Y, Z. And I just was going through all the stuff. And he literally looked at me. He just said, you're selfish. That's why. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean I'm selfish? And he's like, let me explain. He goes, when you go up to speak and you take that moment, and when you are speaking, you're worrying about what you need to say, how you say it in that way, making sure you say it in the right order, covering everything you need to cover. Who are you worried about? Are you worried about the audience or are you worried about how you're doing? I was like, I'm seeing where you're coming from. He's like, instead, just get up there and do what you do. Have fun with it. Be you. And whatever you cover, you cover. It was meant to be. You know the universe. You trust the universe. You know how that works. He's like, just connect with the energy of the room. And he goes, and that's how you can always make a profound statement. And from that moment on, I started to practice that. It was uncomfortable in the beginning, but I got freedom in speaking because now I can go up and speak and I just go with what I feel in the room, what I feel in the message. And I've learned, and I'll always ask for feedback because I'm always learning and growing. I'm not good at public speaking. I'm just always practicing at public speaking. But it's one of those things where I'll get feedback and some people are like, yep, you did really great here. I love this, man. You hit the power, you hit the message really strong here. And I'm like, perfect, great, love it. So when you look at your life, where are those freedoms that you want to have? Sometimes you may notice you have some of those already, but how can you create freedoms in other areas of your life? What does that look like, right? Get that vision. You got to be clear on it. Because if you're not clear on your vision, forget about it. If you don't even have a vision, you're just going to be like a GPS system where you don't know where the destination is, right? You don't even know where you want to go. And so you're going west in the United States, and all of a sudden you're going north into Canada, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going south here into Mexico. I felt like the wind shifted, so I'm going to go to Florida. You know what? New York sounds good right now. And you never get to where you wanted to go. So you got to have that clear vision. And that's why I am so big on vision. Vision is everything. If you cannot see where you want to go in your head, doesn't mean you have to know the way to get there. You just got to know what you want to see at the final end. If you don't have that clarity, you won't ever have freedom. You won't get there. I know this from personal experiences, working with clients, and a lot of the reading I've done in my life, where you have to have that vision. That's one of the biggest things that's going to help you with getting your freedom, because then all of a sudden you let go of all the BS of what you need to do in the hows to get there. You just know that as long as you keep focusing on how you want things to be, and you see it through, it's going to happen. It's going to happen in any area of life. Marriage. It's going to happen in your health. Physical, mental, spiritual. It can help with your friends and family, relationships. It's going to help with your career and business. This can help in all areas, right? That's what I love about the stuff that I share and my online programs that we have and all that we do. We offer online programs at certain times because it's one of those things where we talk about vision heavily. And we teach you the laws behind it and quantum physics behind it, universal laws and all the research behind why that's important. How does that work with the brain? And how does that work with neuroscience and neurology? And why I believe, based on everything I've done in my life, plus working with others and all the research I've done, that is the most critical thing. And I really believe that if you really want to have freedom in anything in your life, you got to have that vision. Because when you think about that for a second, if you want to have a freedom in your marriage to where you can shine and let your other significant other shine too at the same time, or in a relationship, you got to have a vision of what that looks like, right? How you're working and building with one another and supporting the person, even though they're not where you want them to be, or they're not at the level of the potential of who they really can be. You love them and support them anyhow, and accept them for their shortcomings. And if they have big shortcomings, you work with them to support them and help them get through that. I truly believe that that's where freedom comes from in a lot of different areas, but you have to have that vision of what it looks like first. So I wanted to, make this kind of simple, make it a little bit about 4th of July freedom here in America. But in all reality, though, it's just about life. What is it? Like even financial freedom. What's your number that's going to let you know that you're at financial freedom, right? How do you know what that number is? And do you have the facts to show that's what you need? What I mean by this is how much money do you have to have in an investment account where you make 5% every year, and that's going to cover all your expenses, your travels, and the lifestyle that you want to live? What does that look like, and how much do you want to have? How much do you want to make per year? And then you figure that out, and then you put it in, and you calculate it to how you'll get a 5% return, and you will never lose that money, and you will continually get to enjoy the life that you desire. To me, that's financial freedom, because then I can stop working at any time I want. And I shouldn't even say working, because what I do on the podcast here, on my Empower Your Reality, my online classes, my one-on-one coaching clients, my group coaching clients, all that, plus my chiropractic business, where it's a passion of what I do. All this stuff is a passion of mine, and I love doing it. It fuels me, and it feeds me, and gives me purpose in my life. And so that being said, but when you know your number, it's like I don't have to do this if I don't want to. I do it anyhow, but I don't have to, right? Because the money's there, and I'm living more of a financial freedom, and I can pick up and go whenever I choose. So if you don't have vision, contact us. Shoot me an email, drvic@empoweryourreality.com. I'll talk about our upcoming 5-week online class we're launching in August. It's going to be a good one. It's one of our best programs we have online that has helped massive entrepreneurs. It's helped individuals. We've had over 50, 60 graduates of the program now, and it's been really a game changer for their life. And it's amazing the stories I get afterwards, weeks, months later, when they're like, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe how easy this can be. I can't believe X, Y, Z. So we have that coming up in August. Check it out. But shoot me an email. And also, if you have not, please join us on our private Facebook group. I am going to be launching Facebook Lives each week, starting in a couple weeks from now. I'm getting on my schedule planned out for it. So where I will be recording a podcast, but at the same token, I'll be on Facebook Live in that group. And what it'll be is a way for you to interact with me and ask questions about the topic that I'm discussing. And I'll map them out ahead of time as events so that you can know when the Facebook Live will be coming and know when you can attend, and you can come hang out. And we'll do a Facebook Live, and I'll be recording it as a podcast. So we're trying to make it more interactive. I only do this on my private Facebook page. There's no other access to this except on the private Facebook page. So check that out. It's Empowered Living with Dr. Vic. You can check out in the notes. You'll see that there. So any questions you have, we're always here to help. I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. If you can do us a favor and just share a review of what you think of the podcast. If this is your first time listening, go check out some other episodes and really hear what this podcast really is about. If you've been a subscriber already, thank you so much. I appreciate your support in all this. And it really gives me purpose and passion to continue doing what we're doing, as we have over 1,000 subscribers on this podcast. It inspires me to keep moving forward, to share this message, because I know it's resonating with people. So I want to thank you guys again. And as always, until next time, keep rocking and rolling. Thank you for listening to the podcast. For past shows, please visit www.empoweryourreality.com. I hope this show inspired you and added to your life to help you on the journey to rediscover who you really are. To connect with us on Facebook, please visit www.facebook.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. Check us out on Twitter. The handle is Dr. Vic21. Follow us on Instagram, www.instagram.com/Dr. Vic Manzo. If you were inspired by the podcast, pay it forward by sharing it with someone who you know can benefit from it. Thank you again for listening to the Mindful Experiment podcast, sharing paths to help you rediscover your infinite potential.